All right, and welcome back to another episode of Johnny on the Track. And today I am joined by Howie DiSavino, the newest racer for Alpha Prime. He'll be racing in the Xfinity Series for 6 races in 2022. He also ran for Jordan Anderson Racing in the Truck Series, as well as Wintron and AM in the ARCA Menard Series. Howie, man, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, dude, can't wait. Like we said, we were talking before, congratulations on the new deal. That is awesome. We are super excited to root for you this year. But I wanted to ask, we got to go back. We got to take it back. How did you get your start into racing? I read on like your Wikipedia page that it was literally like at a young age, you went to a track and you're like, I want to do that for the rest of my life. Is that true? How did it all start?
Yeah, so what you read was accurate and true.
Okay.
I started watching some NASCAR races when I was about 7 to 8 years old. And I grew up in Chesterfield, Virginia, same place as Denny Hamlin, actually.
Okay, all right.
Richmond Raceway is only 45 minutes away.
Okay.
So my dad and I, we got some tickets. We went up there, and when we went up there, Arena Racing USA had their small little cars out there and this and that. And I walked up and said, Dad, I want to do that. And he was like, yeah, buddy, well, we'll see. And so we watched the race. And ever since then, I got the need for speed, essentially. And about 4 years later, I got into arena racing, those little cars that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I mean, moved from that to late model stock cars, did some pro late model stuff, super late model, ARCA, trucks, and now Xfinity. 8 short years, but we climbed up the ladder pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what about like, was there anything else? Were you playing like football, basketball, or no, it was just all racing all the time for you?
Yeah, no, I played basketball and football and soccer at a very young age. But at that point in time, I don't think I was doing any sports, honestly. I was just more focused on doing what any kid would do. I mean, I grew up on a farm, so I didn't have so much opportunities to really, go out and do a bunch of stuff. So I was around motors pretty much my whole life.
Right. And what, like, when you're growing up, like what is the grind like? Like, what did you have to dedicate? How many hours a week to keep, excelling at your craft and really now getting where you're at now?
Are you talking about when I'm younger or right now?
All of it, honestly, all of it. Make, bring it all the way up to where you are now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember we moved to the farm when I was like 4 years old. And ever since then, if it was a cold winter day, we had to put up a fence. I was out there with my pops and we were sitting there digging holes and doing whatever we had to do. So I really feel like that with the farming background, it really plays a big role into discipline and time management a lot into the racing world. We had to get stuff done pretty quickly. I mean, there was times my mom would bring home sheep and we didn't have a pin up for it. So in 24 hours, we had to get a acre pin up, So it's one of those deals to where, I really feel like that I can put that into perspective of the racing and time management and know when I need to be home for, podcasts like this or on phone calls or whatever it is. But I really enjoy spending a lot of time at the shop, but I really feel like that, pretty much everything in racing is you have to understand the process of it and also make enough time in one day to try to succeed every single day.
That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like you had the grind in 2 ways. Like you had it just growing up on a farm. And then, like you said, like being able to kind of balance that, the grind with racing and being around the shop. That's really cool. All right. So let's move a little further. Let's take it to your first career truck series race. Like when you get behind the wheel of that truck, what is your mindset? Like, I just can't imagine what that's like for you to step in your first NASCAR race. Like, take me through that.
So that was an interesting race. It was at Richmond, my home track.
Even better, right?
Exactly. Pretty much every series that I've gone in, I've been close to home. But Yeah, it was Richmond. We had no qualifying, no practice. It was COVID. So I
Crazy.
basically just jumped in a truck, never ran a truck, just said, hey, well, I'm gonna sail it off in the corner and see it if it sticks, basically. Yeah, that race was crazy. The leaders, I was still learning how to drive a truck, and the leaders were coming up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the leaders were coming up behind me, had no radio communication. I thought it was weird because I couldn't hear my spotter for like 25 laps. And
Holy smokes.
and so I was like, "Hey, Reed, you there?" And he was like, and I didn't hear nothing back. Almost got spun out. Saved the truck. Came to the pits. Switched out wiring harnesses. With 50 to go, power steering went out. So
Oh
I
my.
for the last 50 laps, I muscled it through. Now Richmond, as you know, the front stretch is curved the
Yeah,
whole
it's
way.
tight. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's not like a a straightaway. So my arms were completely wasted after that race, but the mindset was more of like, all right, I'm give or take, I'm one out of 38 drivers in the whole world
Mm-hmm.
right now doing this. It humbles you back, but it makes you super confident as well.
Okay.
To sit there and say, you know what, I can finish 38th. I can finish completely last. I'm still one of 38.
I like that.
So
I like that. I feel like that's I feel like a lot of people get caught up in external factors where it's like, oh, I want to perform. I want to bring this truck to the I want to bring it up 10 spots. I started, let's say 30th. I want to get a top 20. Whereas your mindset was just like, hey man, I'm here doing what I love. Like, is that what you're saying?
exactly, it's more of like you just got to understand what the process is of hey, I'm one of very few that are able to do this on a weekly basis or even monthly basis. It doesn't matter how many times you run. If you run one truck race in your whole career, you still made it.
That's awesome. I like that mindset. I really do. I feel like that's a good one, and more young guys like in the sport should follow that because it's a tough grind. I mean, I know I go to local tracks in New England, and some of these guys are just insanely talented, and they're good. Like I've watched. I don't know if you're familiar with Doug Kobe. I'm watching Doug Kobe the last like 3 years, right? Just dominate the
Yep.
wheel and modified tour, and he just got his first chance to ride a NASCAR truck this year. And that dude is so talented. He went out in the SRX race, the inaugural SRX race, which we were at
Yep.
Stafford Speedway. He creams the competition. And it's like, that guy he didn't even get a chance till this year. So yeah, man, I like that mindset. I think that's a great mindset. Now let's take it to, because I think this is an interesting, way to look at it. And I want to get your opinion on it. So you're obviously a young guy. And in the truck series, even Xfinity this year as well, you'll be going up against guys that are a lot older than you, a lot more experience, have had it. Look at Daniel Hemrick, AJ Allmendinger. You're going to be racing those guys. So again, like now what's that mindset of, is it some sort of like, do you need the respect of them so other people are helping you out on the track? Like, what is that mindset?
I'll put it to you like this: even racing locally at my home track in late models, I was running second place and I was beating on the bumper of the
Mm-hmm.
dude that was in front of me. I didn't win this race. I should have, but I didn't. I turned him sideways and I let off the throttle 100% because this dude's a veteran. And his whole team came up to me after the race and basically said, "Hey, that move, you could have passed him very easily, but you let him collect his stuff and you kind of gave us the win, but you let him get back in order and you let him straighten his car out and then y'all went back racing." I think everything about this whole sport is about respect.
Yeah.
If I'm running Kyle Busch, if I'm running, Ryan Vargas, right? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. Ryan Vargas is more experienced than what I am. So is Kyle Busch. Now, if I have a better car that day and I can get by him clean, I will do that. I'm not going to go out there and say that they're lapping me. I'm not going to go out there and block them and block them and block them. I'm going to let them lap me. And my only objective this year is to finish races.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really think about it, there's probably going to be quite a few cautions and quite a few messed up cars that can't finish the race. So, and that was my objective last season, was just to finish races. And I really think that that's the best mindset to have is you got to give respect to get respect. And so that's just kind of the way that I think about it.
Is that difficult? Is that hard to do?
Oh, it's very difficult. I mean, you want to be number one, of course.
Yeah, right.
But if they come up behind you, like I'm not saying you can't race them.
Right.
But you don't need to like sit there and beat and bang on lap 5 just to, just be thankful that you're right there next to them. That's my whole thing is if AJ Allmendinger and I are side by side, I'm not gonna go up there and put a donut on his door on lap 5. Now, if we're going for a win, I think that's a little bit of a different story. Of course, we'll beat and bang a little bit and try to get first, but when it comes down to it, I think that respect's everything in the sport, and they'll respect you more for racing them cleaner.
I think a lot of guys in this series are gonna like you, man. I really do. I really genuinely mean that. I think they're gonna enjoy racing with you, and we're gonna enjoy watching you. So let's take it now to this Xfinity deal. So you're gonna get 6 races this year. You'll get Phoenix, you'll get Richmond, your home track, Charlotte, Texas, Dago, which is gonna be awesome. I'm sure you are pumped for that, and even the short track that is the paperclip Martinsville. So let's first go into the deal itself. How did this kind of come together for you? How was this opportunity brought for you? And the other thing I wanted to know was, were you able to pick your 6 races, because you have a stacked 6 races that you were able to, that were put together?
Yeah, so this deal was 100% put together by Austin Terrio. He is my manager. He's my mentor. He driving coach, everything.
Mm-hmm.
He puts together all my deals ever since ARCA. Okay. So he helps me out a lot with that side. When it comes down to picking races, Richmond is a definite. That's just my
of course.
That's my home track. I have to race there. Daga, I was not expecting Daga. I really was not.
But you were amped, right?
Oh, of course. I mean, anyone. The thing about a plate race, which I've ran Daytona and ARCA, is you are able to. The field is so much more competitive because we all have the same stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Right now, when you come to like shorter tracks, you got the A teams, the B teams, and the C teams, and the A teams have great motors. The B teams have decent motors. So I really feel like that Daga is going to be a really good one as long as I stay out of all the mess that will go on there. So I'm super stoked about what we have going on, but we talked about it. We said, what tracks do we want to run? I ran Phoenix twice. Mm-hmm. I'm comfortable there. I understand that track very well, and I've had some pretty good finishes there. Richmond, you heard about my Richmond race about losing power steering, so I want to have a redemption.
Yeah, there it is.
At that one, if my power steering goes out in Xfinity car, I will come back the next year for redemption. But every other race is 100% up to him. So I'm very stoked about it, especially Charlotte now that I'm down here in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. And like I said, though, you packed a 6-race schedule right there. Those are some awesome ones to have. So real quick, which track are you most excited for?
100% Daga.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good pick. That's what I thought you'd say. It's what I kind of hoped you'd say, because that is, from a fan's perspective, that Daytona, obviously Bristol is good. The Bristol night is always a good one to watch, but I mean, I can get like NASCAR or fans that aren't NASCAR fans, right? Just regular sports fans to, be entertained watching Daga and Daytona. So that's awesome, man. Now I want to talk about the ride you're in is pretty good. You're going to have a pretty good ride. It's a pretty good car. So kind of with that, what is the goal? I feel like that's the right question. What is the goal each race with the car and the package you'll be running?
So I'm in 6 races.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about it with Tommy Joe a few days ago. Our objective is straight just to finish races and get points for that 45.
Okay. That
is our only goal. Now, if we can go for a win, let's go for a win. If we can go for a top 10, let's go for a top 10. But there's no need for us to go out there and junk our stuff up on lap 5.
Right.
So we're thinking more about it in a smart move than, just aggressive.
Real quick, is that tough for you, knowing that you have a short schedule and you kind of want to prove yourself, or no, you're kind of like, hey, this is what they want me to do. This is what I'm going to do.
It's hard and also easy at the same time. So it's not as much pressure put on you, but I feel like if Cup guys are looking at, like, good drivers from Xfinity, if they see a kid that's in decent equipment and he's outperforming his equipment,
right,
that they would see him and be like, well, he's going to be a good driver for the future. Right. So I'm kind of eager to outperform my equipment, but I have a stacked teammates. Like all my teammates are really good. So especially, Kaz Growler. I mean, he's been in this sport for quite some time. Sage has a lot more starts than what I do. The only rookies that we really have is Roger Caruth and me. So it's definitely gonna be an interesting year for us.
Well, that's interesting. And yeah, I mean, again, I hear you on that, because it's like, at the same time, what the boss wants and you got to follow, what the boss says. But at the same time, you're here to prove yourself in the sport. And from what it seems like, you can prove yourself in the sport, which is always the right attitude and mindset. So I want to ask you now, kind of, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. I'm gonna base this one off of hope.
Okay.
I hope to be a full-time Cup driver.
Okay.
That is my goal. I think that, I can get approved. Like in trucks, I got approved in 5 races to run the full schedule in trucks, and I got approved for Xfinity. I feel like in 6 races, I could be approved for the whole schedule and Cup. So I think that maybe next year I would be super stoked to do Richmond Cup.
Okay.
Just hometown stuff, just a one-off deal. Or if we get the partnership and we got the funding to run a full season in Xfinity, great. Then we'll go do that,
Yeah.
So that I really think that that's our biggest component is partnerships and getting approved, honestly.
Well, go get it, man. I mean, you definitely seem committed. I've watched, plenty of your stuff, and you're talented. I think you're talented, and I think that's a lot.
That.
Yeah, man. That's what a lot of it is. You got to believe in yourself, and that's one of the reasons I do this podcast. I just enjoy doing it. I feel like it's a pretty good show. I feel like the guests enjoy being on the show, and I'm not going to stop. Right. I hope that, I don't know, maybe this is on one of the Fox Sports channels or something like that. And it continues to grow. So I got the same mindset as you, man.
Sure. That's awesome. That's good.
Right. So like I said before, we were talking before, and we always like to do something fun at the end of the show. So I wanted to do something a little different than we normally do. You and I, like I said, we're similar in age. So I feel like we've grown up, learn about different things in a social media age where a lot of things are published, posted. People can see it right there for their own eyes. So
in seconds.
In seconds, literally. So with that, I've got 2 topics that I want us to talk about. So the first one, I know a lot of the fans are going to enjoy us talking about ghosts and aliens. So I'll let you choose. Well, first of all, do you believe in aliens and ghosts?
I believe. See, that's a tough question, because everyone's seen the Area 51 stuff, and I don't know about ghosts personally. I think that there are spirits.
Okay.
Which I guess can be ghosts.
Sure enough.
But I've seen videos of like people screaming in the woods, and you just don't know if it's set up or if it's real. So it's definitely a topic that's good. But I mean, to be honest, I don't know about either.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Any stories? Any ghost stories? Any alien stories? Any UFO sightings?
Man, the only thing I've seen in the sky is airplanes and helicopters. I've never seen anything else besides that. Um, Aliens, never seen those before. And I'm an outdoorsman. Like I hunt and fish all the time. So I do have a question for you though.
Okay, yeah. Bring it
What do you
back
think
at
about
me.
what do you think about Bigfoot?
Ooh. Well, I was a
Yeah.
kid and I was watching Finding
How to
Bigfoot. I was watching
exactly.
I was watching what is it? Mountain Monsters. I'm sure you've
Mhm.
heard of Mountain Monsters.
Yep.
Bigfoot, man. Here's the thing, right? You would feel like if if Bigfoot was real, someone would have a good video. And we know like the best video has been confirmed that it was like a person in a costume, right? But you would feel like someone must have seen this thing. Someone. Now, at the same time, I was watching another podcast called the Hey Babe podcast. Shout out Sal Volcano and Chris DiSavino, two of my favorite comedians. And they were talking about like how so many different animals can like mate with each other, which it's insane. Like the different like animals that can mate with each other and come up with like different breeds or whatnot. So could I see like two crazy animals mating with each other and making something that looks like Bigfoot? It's possible. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. I'm for ghosts. I'm for aliens. Bigfoot. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I've seen that people have taken photos of big like of foot that's like huge, right? Like
Well,
I don't
you
know if I'm
hunt.
good.
Have you seen that stuff?
I
Like,
have personally have never seen that.
okay,
I just I think that I don't know because it's weird because there are some videos that are pretty good, right? And
okay.
then there's others that are like, yeah, that's definitely fake. So I don't know at all about that. It's crazy that you said that though, because I've heard the same thing about animals mating with other animals, and I've seen
Mhm.
people like this one dude I saw. He took DNA from a deer and from
Okay.
a poisonous snake, combined it, and it was a fawn that had fangs. It was the first poisonous fawn, and I was like, why would you? Why I don't know why you would do that.
Why do we need that thing? We already got COVID. We now we got.
Exactly. I was like, keep that at your house, buddy. Don't bring that over here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like it's stuff like that. You hear stories like that, and you're like, well, maybe there's a crazy animal out there that someone saw, and it shocked them. And hey, it's Bigfoot. I don't know. Maybe it's something else. But
Well, let
man,
me ask you,
yeah, go.
have you ever seen a UFO or aliens or ghosts?
Okay, so no to UFOs and aliens. I've watched a lot of stuff about aliens and UFOs. I know people that have seen UFOs, but they're all from the West Coast. From what I hear, like you look up in the sky if you're in California like once a week, and you'll be like, "What the heck is that thing?" Something you've never seen before. But
Well, it's the West Coast. What do you expect?
exactly. The ghost story, I've got one, and I'm sure my girlfriend will watch this episode. But first of all, real quick, Johnny on the Track has gone off the rails. I mean, we do some games, but these these are some of the best conversations I've had on this podcast. All right, so all right, ghost story. So let's get back into this. So I went to Emerson College in Boston, and supposedly there was a couple buildings that actually were haunted. One being a building that was there since like the 1800s. They were tearing it down at the time, but it had like really old elevators and such. And I mean, it really looked like it was a haunted place. And the building I lived in was called Piano Row, and supposedly when they built it, someone fell, or a couple people fell basically and died. Um, so I forget how the conversation was coming up, but I was talking to my girlfriend's roommates. And I was like, do any of you ever hear like typing on a MacBook? Like I felt like I heard that all night. And two of the girls were like, yeah, like we hear that every night. but they never hear it. And two of them were in the same room. One of them could hear it every night and the other one couldn't. And I could hear it and my girlfriend never heard it. Right. So I'm like, what that's kind of weird. And it was distinct, like the sound of a MacBook typing. That was it. Right. And so I don't know. I was like, that's just so weird. Like, you didn't think much of it. And then one day I was with her and she basically went to work super early in the morning. And I've told this story to a lot of my friends. I've told it to her. She went to work super early in the morning. It was like, I don't know, 5 a.m. or something. She was doing, she worked at a gym. And so I was asleep. I swear I thought she came in and when I basically woke up, I was like, how was work? I am talking to somebody. I kid you not. I'm talking to somebody. Oh, work was great, yada, 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 having a real conversation. And then I'm like, wait, there's nobody here. Like it's like 7 a.m. She's be back at 10. That doesn't make any sense. But I was just like, luckily I was like really tired. So I was able to just be like, all right, this is freaking weird. I'm going back to sleep. And I was able to do it. But I've told my friends that they're like, oh, you probably have a lucid dream. I've never had one in my life. So I ruled that out. I was just like, I think whoever that was typing on that MacBook was talking to me. So that's the only, and like I said, I've watched a lot of ghost shows growing up, ghost adventures, that kind of thing. Love horror movies, but that was the only time I've ever had an experience like that. And it was so weird. I've never had anything like it either. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What's your reaction?
Well, man, I mean, that's
It's correct, right? It's vivid.
I don't even like, I don't even know how to put that into words. I've talked like that's weird because I've never talked to someone without someone being there.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's true. I agree with you. And with that, that's kind of my other understanding. Whereas I don't do that. I don't.
Did she sound like your girlfriend?
Yes. And as soon as my girlfriend came in a couple hours after, I was like, "Hey,
did you ask her if she came back?"
Well, yeah, no, she woke me up when she finally came in and she's like, oh, I'm done with work. I'm like, you're not going to believe this, but I swear you were here 2 hours ago. Like, I swear I was talking to you. And she's like, no, I just got back. And I'm like, looking at the time, I'm like, yeah, that all checks out, So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a crazy story. I don't have anything like that, honestly. I've heard some weird sounds in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
like coyote hunting and stuff like
Sure.
that. Of course, it has to be nighttime, and you're walking around with flashlights and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
You might change
But
my mind on it.
you think so? Really?
Maybe. I don't know
Wow, I
that.
sold it that well.
I mean, you just be a salesman.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm not even doing it justice. Like that's how crazy it was. And again, I've tried to I've explained it to plenty of friends, and they're like, "Dude, you had a lucid dream. Like it happens." I'm like, "No, it doesn't, because it's never happened to me." Like I don't know how else to say that to somebody.
Whenever I tell someone something that's like, undescribable or
Sure.
like that makes no sense, but
Yeah.
it happened. And they're like, "Oh man, that didn't happen." I'm like, "Man, you really just had to have been there. Like you just had to have been there," and you would be like, "Okay, that makes sense now. I understand." So yeah, no, that's crazy though. I've heard stories like that though.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, I mean, TikToks of it, of someone going to an elevator shaft and they threw down a rock in it and then they heard someone yell "ouch" or something like
Oh
that.
my goodness.
I've seen stuff like that, but I'm not a horror movie guy. I can't stand them. So whenever it's like nighttime, it's like dark, and I see that, I just swipe. I just keep going. I'm like, nope, I ain't watching that.
Next, please. See, the best part about this episode though is I literally think we've had a lot of guests on the show. I don't know if I could have had this in depth of a conversation, about ghosts and aliens with a guest, you know.
Oh, for sure.
We've had some, I don't know, a couple Xfinity and truck drivers. I'm sure I would have scared them away with, "Hey, you guys believe in ghosts?" But that, again, that's part of the age thing. You and I growing up similar age, with social media, you see it all, and you said that, you know, you see it all within seconds of this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it's pretty quick. So
Exactly, exactly. All right. Well, on that note, we're excited for you. Can't wait. We're going to be rooting for you in 5 years. We want to see you. Hopefully, let's do it next year. Let's next year, full time, maybe in the Xfinity, maybe in the trucks, but definitely we're circling a cup race for you at Richmond. I can't wait to see it all come to fruition for you, man.
yes, sir. Well, I'm hoping that that's the case, and we'll rock and roll with it. But thank you for having me on here, and if you need anything, you can always send me a text or DM, and I'll be happy to come back on.
Can't wait. How about I send you a Johnny on the Track sticker? Does that sound good?
If you send me a sticker, I'll put it on the race car.
Would you actually do that?
100%, I would.
That is awesome, man. All right, I'll we'll link up after this, and I'll shoot you that. I got a sticker just for you. Can't wait, man. That's awesome. And thank you for this in-depth conversation on aliens and ghosts. This has been amazing.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
All right, thanks for coming on. Take care, man.
Thank you for having me, man.